And we'll pull that out, see what we find in here. What could possibly go wrong?
Well, good morning everybody and welcome to another day. We're all up here at the main farm. So we've got Phil on the forklift. Got to all watch our feet around here. Now, a couple things to talk about. One is Johnny has actually moved on from working for us. We've known for a little while. I haven't mentioned it on the channel. I was going to do an actual video about it, but on his last day, it had rained. We couldn't get down to the development block, all that stuff. But yeah, everything's on good terms, no stress. He's just moving on with the next chapter, and we're downsizing slightly with our workforce. So it'll just be Brad, Phil, JD, and myself and Dad. Yeah, so it should be a bit simpler in that we're going to have less machines running all at the same time. So theoretically, less things should break. But anyway, so that's that. So yeah, we wish Johnny and his family all the best on their next chapter. So send your well wishes in the comments too. That'll be good. Now, what's going on here is the headers. We do, as some people are following along, we do have a problem with some weeds, particularly ryegrass. It's not that bad yet that we have to start looking into like seed destructors and all of that. That may come down the track, but what we're going to do is we're just trying to find things that are going to help, and it's finally probably we've got a couple of paddocks that are at the limit where it is the next stage, and what we're doing is we're fitting chaff decks to the header. Now, header number 2 had one when we bought it, or it came with one, so it's over there, and I'll explain what it does in a minute. But basically we pull the spreaders off, which are those things there which spread the chaff out, and yeah, you fit this in here. So here, Brad, you're good at explaining things. Do you want to take over?
Well,
you get excited.
I was going to get the camera out.
Yeah, well, I beat you.
I've got lots of story times.
Oh, is that another video? We might have to.
Special story time.
So basically, it's because the header's already separating the chaff. You can explain it if you want, Brad, or what are you? You look a bit awkward there.
That's just me. That's just me. Yeah, you've got the straw component that goes through your rotor, comes out your chopper, and then you've got the chaff component that comes off your sieves and it's spread separately. So New Hollands are good like that. They separate it, whereas John Deere, Case, I think, yeah, pretty sure Case are all together. Class, I'm not sure about. So it makes this job really easy, whereas on a John Deere it's a real pain apparently.
So the chaff is where the most of your weed seeds are.
All your weed seeds are in your chaff, not in your straw.
Not usually.
So we're just catching the chaff component, and then our straw component's still going out the chopper.
Yeah, so the chaff will come out onto these rollers, onto these conveyor belts, and then it dumps them. There's other guards and stuff that when it's fitted you'll see that. But it comes down and dumps it in your wheel tracks or in your tram lines. So with the controlled traffic farming, you have your tram lines, and that's where obviously for all your 12 metre, 24 metre or 36 metres, they'll go on the same line. And because it's compacted, and also like when you're spraying and that, you can double up the spray rate on those tram lines. Makes it very hard for the weeds to grow, and because you're driving over them all the time, it just really how do you say, just knocks them on the head, makes it very hard for them to grow and flourish as they otherwise would have in the middle of your paddock, not where the tram line is. So it's just another tool. We've probably crossed that threshold where we needed to do something a bit extra rather than just spraying in a couple of the paddocks. So yeah, that's an option. And we do have one coming for the other header as well, because basically it's a lot cheaper doing this than having to do a spray or two.
So necessity is the mother of invention. So they've been doing this in the south and the west for years with the chaff decks, and then obviously the seed destructors been around for quite a few years now, and so this is like the intermediate step. So this is the least painful method before you go to a seed destructor, which, you know, is more expensive and horsepower, dust, all that thing. So, but we may get there. So this might buy us time.
Yeah, buying time. That's what it is. Until some genius can come up with an idea that just snots ryegrass, eh?
That's it.
So, yeah, so that's what we're up to today. We're going to try and get this one fitted. We haven't fitted this one since we bought the header. It's just been sitting down at the other property waiting for this day. Right, I just got the word from Brad. He's going to show you what he's doing.
Yeah, rightio.
It's good luck. Good luck.
Come with me.
Good luck, everybody.
Come with me. I won't leave you astray. So what we're doing is taking this bottom solenoid valve off body, and that's the lift, came lift and drop. So what's happening is at the moment it's got 2-speed switch, so all the way drops it fast, halfway drops it slowly. So what's happening is he's dropping it, pushing it halfway, and it's sort of doing that. It's jumping down. It's not nice and progressive, which if you're out at Walgett, that'd be fine because you're flat as flat. But we got one paddock, I think we got 30 contours in one run. So yeah, you're always on the button. So I've got to pull that off and see whether it's a seal. So anyway, we'll do that. That's the main thing on this one. And then we've got the belts going a bit slow, the draper belts on the header front. So that's the next thing. But I was just thinking too, I've noticed a few comments about our headers. You know, they're older. Yeah, they're definitely 12 and 10 years old. But nearly 3,000 rotor hours, or one's above, one's below. So they're all up there. And so you've asked about the cost of running them and maintaining them versus, you know, getting a new one. So basically, we'd love a new one if we could. Yeah, it'd be just awesome. We're farmers. We love our machinery. So we would love a new one, but the reality is it's very hard to afford. So now we're getting to nearly 1.2 million for a header, with a combine header, comb trailer. That's a big one. We'd like to go tracks next. So yeah, basically just with all the development we've been doing and expanding, we're just, yeah, your money just can't go everywhere. So that's obviously the main reason why we're not getting a new one. It's just because we're struggling to make it work. But as far as I thought it might be interested, I've just been doing some numbers on cost of maintenance, new versus old, and so from what I gather, a lot of the neighbours around us that run the new gear, new headers, newish, you know, a couple of years old, I think they're spending probably about 20 grand roughly a year on each header combine, and so I think class are up a little bit more. I think they cost a little bit more to run or maintain each year. They might be 30 or more, but so about that 20 for John Deere and Case. I think our neighbours are sort of roughly spending a year on each one. So I reckon what we're spending is probably about 30,000 on each combine or header a year. So that's dearer, yeah, but that extra 10 grand is probably not a lot in view of if you had to go and buy a new header. That'd be, yeah, your repayments are going to be massive. So for us, even though, yeah, we would love new gear, you definitely get a few less breakdowns with new gear, but a lot of our breakdowns are not necessarily because the header so much as it's where we're taking the headers. Oh, I'm doing.
You're talking about new gear.
Yeah. Saying basically we'd like to, but we can't afford to.
Yeah, the forklift would be good.
Yeah. Hey. Yeah, Matt's asking for sponsors. We'd be very happy to try out a new CR11. I'm just putting it out there.
We don't want to bring our violin out.
No, we don't want our violin. No, I'll just explain the cost of
violin action.
ownership. So we're not really spending a lot more, maybe another 10 grand a year, I reckon. And I'm saying a lot of the breakdowns are actually because of our country, like contours and rocks. Yeah, we're not talking about operators. but
Operators.
But it does make it hard on the headers, you know. All these things, it's rough. So that you'd naturally wear out and go through stuff quicker with all those factors, don't you? Than if you're like flat.
Flat going.
Like it's hard on hydros. Our header fronts we're just cracking out all the time because of the contours and the flex. So
This isn't helping us want to sell our land if we want to sell it, Brad.
but the thing is, it's very productive. No, what is it? We the flat versus the uphill. What they reckon? It was about 2 times.
Yeah, twice.
Bit over twice maybe. So you halve the efficiency by going in the hills where you got the hills and rocks and all that. But the thing is, I would say we're probably, you wouldn't be double the yield, would you? But you'd be 10%. You'd be 20% more yield.
Yeah, you got more average.
Yeah.
More your average rainfall.
Yeah, you got a better average rainfall. And generally where rocks are is better soil too, isn't it?
But see, some of those guys over in America are farming on angles that we've never dreamed of farming.
We're not having a go, really.
We don't even have the levelling
No,
header thing.
no, that's true. We could maybe farm some more.
Yeah.
So it's interesting.
Farm over there.
It is. We're just not desperate enough yet.
You're ruining a good podcast conversation.
All right. All right. Now Matt's on the podcast. Anyway, so I'll get back to my solenoid. Yeah, get back to my solenoid. But a few people had asked about bagging us on having older gear, so we can't afford it, and it's actually not that much more expensive to maintain the older gear we're finding.
Well, the best
relative to machinery repayments.
The best suggestion I've heard is why don't you sell those two and buy a good one? The reality is we'd sell both of these, pay for not even half of a new one, and then you're losing just about half your capacity of harvesting.
That's why we need the 11, because it'd probably do 2 of these. So anyone out there that's got an 11 that they want us to demo,
Luke, come in. Luke, just go back a bit. Back. Alright, come forward. Go up. Go side shift right.
Rightio, well we got our solenoid off, guys, so I'm the valve body. I'm just trying to pull out the guts here, and there's a fair bit of fancy action in there. This is like a little a grub screw with a worm drive, which as you turn that it turns out, so it's obviously very sensitive. So what I've done, I've just got my depth micrometer here, and I've measured the depth on that bit. I figured that's going to be way more accurate than if I mark and because I could be out one thread. It's quite a fine thread. So we'll just keep unwinding here, and we'll pull that out, see what we find in here. What could possibly go wrong? I've got that bit out, all those little bits, and got this bit out. I pulled that little circlip off. There's no O-rings in there. I was just making sure those little holes aren't blocked. Just going through. You're like a motorbike carby. You start at the start and you just make sure everything looks okay and the holes are not blocked. Yeah, so I'm just winding this back in to get the right depth. And then we'll start assembling, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to change these solenoids. Don't know, that's the outside bit, whatever the inside bit is. So I'll swap them over, and then I'm pretty sure that's the problem there. Looking at it so far, everything in here looks really good. I've swapped the solenoid posts, would you call them? Swap them around. So that means if the problem should go to the lift and not the drop. So yeah, we'll just jam that up there. Matt's not YouTubing. Look,
No,
he's actually working.
I've got the camera over there.
Oh, he's working.
This is going to confuse me in the edit.
I know, look at him. He's even working. Don't believe
I
it.
try to avoid it on camera.
So there you go, that's sort of the preliminary look. Man, that's close to the tyre.
Oh, it's not bolted in.
Yeah, righto.
It should just sit about there, I reckon.
Yeah.
Got a few brackets to put in.
Righto, well I'll come back to my job up here. Try and jam this in before I get oil everywhere.
I'm not sure which part we're talking about. Well, I'm back. Had some lunch. Got distracted with a few things, which is that's just normal. Where we're up to here is we've got it basically all mounted. We just got to put these, finish putting those on, and then these top bits go on there. So it's basically to stop wind or whatever. If it's a really windy day, the wind's coming up and blowing it, which is all your weed seeds and everything, and if it's blowing out, then it's not much good. It's not really doing its job. So that goes up the top there and should help with all of that. We've just got to figure out a couple of issues with hydraulic hoses. The case drain from this went down into the spreaders, and then this isn't set up for that anyway, so there's a bit of a hole. I think we just need a T and a section of hose and we should be sorted there. But yeah, that is what we're currently up to. But the concern we have is on the contours, whether it's going to be a problem with bottoming out, and that probably won't be. But I think what will possibly happen is if we get into the ruts, yeah, like if you're in some pretty big ruts, then it probably would if you're going over a contour and there's ruts there. So that's we'll just have to wait and see for that one. But looks like Brad's all excited there. Got the front on header 1. Not exactly sure what he is doing, but he'll do it anyway. Alright, we'll keep trucking along here. We're hoping by today we can we can get this basically all buttoned up and even give it a try. But yeah, we may have to get a few hydraulic, like a T and something else from town. But we'll just see how far we get.
Righto guys, well we're in the old header here. Had the front hooked up. I'll show you what's going on. So we've got the 2 speeds here. So the first half clip, yeah, it's sort of going up and down a bit, and then if I go all the way it'll go real fast. And then I'll show you over here, I've got the little graph. Bit of glare. There we go. So this is my current. It's modulating, isn't it? But the other, before when I was testing, it was okay. So you can see the, yeah. So don't know. I'll have to keep beavering away.
Well guys, it is pretty well knock-off time. Brad's asked me to do an update for him too, because we both kind of got engrossed in fixing stuff and forgot to pick up the camera. But right, where to start? So chaff deck is getting there, looking pretty good. I think I pretty much showed you that. I just got that top bit on. We're just not sure yet whether we're going to modify it a bit, lift it up, do whatever, get it right. But yeah, they've still got some hydraulic lines to get for the case drain on the motor there. But header 1, as it turns out, Brad brought it over here to have a look at that bouncing issue, which I think he has already talked a bit about. As you lower down the front, it just starts really getting a bounce up. So we are wondering, and we've been diagnosing, and I'll keep it brief, hopefully. So basically that's the accumulator for your lift for your front. So basically when you're going over and you hit a bump and the front, it means the front can move up and down a bit. It's not just locked hydraulically. It's it can move and makes it a bit smoother. So we're not sure what's going on there, because on the computer inside it is not coming on. So it should be on all the time except for when you're lifting it, and it should turn off, and it just locks out the accumulator. But it is not coming on. The computer isn't actually telling it to come on. And when you've got the engine off and the ignition on, obviously it says it's on, and there's power to the solenoid here and that, but when you start it, it goes off straight away. What we did is, this is the back end of that valve, and we pulled that out, pulled the spring out, which means it should bring the solenoid all the way across, and and basically manually override so that the accumulator is always on, but it still was doing it. And we're kind of leaning towards possibly the accumulator itself is kaput. And what we're going to do, it's a little bit different setup on this header, but we're going to maybe in the morning pull that off, or pull the accumulator off this header, and whack her on the other one just to see, because that'll help us a lot in diagnosing. Like, this setup is a bit different. The accumulator's actually down here, but should be the same one, just in a different spot. So anyway, that's what we are doing. Brad's going to put the pull on there. Yeah, Riley's helping. So I think that's pretty well it, guys. That'll be it for today. I might do a bit more videoing tomorrow and see if we get anywhere with this, and go from there. But thanks, guys. We'll see you tomorrow. Well, good morning, guys. Apologies for the noise, but there is a reason for that. Now, I think we have had a win. Well, we've at least figured out what the problem is. Now, we did a bit of swapping over, and I'll run through that in a bit, but we're just testing it now. Hit it! Are you calibrating? I said I was getting the camera, and he thought that was a great time to calibrate it. I'll come back in. Oh, it's done now. Righto. So usually when you'd let the comb down, she'd start getting a wild wobble up. Now let's look at it. Oh, smooth as. Well, I'll go on the machine that isn't noisy. So that's very handy, having two headers that are pretty much the same. We removed the hydraulic, well, first of all, let's start from the start. Save confusing everyone. This morning I replaced the accumulator here. I was able to just pull that off and straight onto there, leave the other one all there, but just plugged in this one, and nothing changed. Then I swapped the potentiometer on the feeder house, because the rate of what it drops, it can set that. Anyway, what we found out is we swapped out and pulled out the whole bottom of that hydraulic block, and swapped that over, and that's fixed it. So whether or not there's just something, this is the block here, whether or not there's just something caught up in there, I don't know. We did swap solenoids, we tried different solenoids and all that didn't work. So in the actual block itself, maybe there's, I don't know, something's not right. So anyway, that is good to know. We'll just grab another one of them, and then that problem will be fixed. It was making it pretty tricky on the contour banks, with that just not working quite right. So that's a win. That is a win. So that's about all we've achieved today so far, which is a win. Ridiculous. You tell anyone around here that you're getting the camera out, they start making a lot of noise. Just inconsiderate. But anyway, guys, that is probably all we're going to get to today. We're going to go in into town and have a lunch to send off Johnny and his family. So yeah, that'll be lovely. But thanks for watching, guys. Hope you enjoyed it. We'll catch you in the next one.